Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to the Retro Wrestling Review Series, Season 3, Episode 4. Um, and in this video, I am going to be covering if you guys don't know, look at the Facebook page, I'll just tell you. Um, in this video, I'm going to be covering episodes 8 and 9 of the Cruiserweight Classics. Originally, I was going to cover episode 10 in this video, and I would have just ended Season 3. This would have been the season finale of the Retro Wrestling Review Series. But instead I decided to make episode 10 its own video because season 10 not season episode 10 is its own special video because of the fact that it's the 2 hour season finale and I want it to be its own thing. I just figured it'd be easier if I do it that way. So episodes 8 and 9 are only going to be in this video. And if you guys don't know if you guys didn't watch my last two videos and you guys just don't know anything and you guys didn't watch the Cruiserweight Classics at all, let me just kind of tell you what's been going on. Now, I can't remember everybody exactly who's in the tournament, who's facing who, but pretty much they had this tournament up to this point of the episode of the 32 best cruiserweights in the world. And they had round one, and then it was down to, and everybody wrestled and people won matches. You can watch episode 1 to find out who wrestled at what matches. Then they had then they had round 2, and it was down to 16, and everybody wrestled and everybody won matches, which you'll find out who won the matches because then from 16 came the Great 8. And these are the Great 8 people that ended up advancing and coming this far in the tournament. And they have unveiled the statue in episode 7. And it looks like a really good statue, and I actually think it looks really awesome. And whoever wins that tournament is going to get that statue. So now that I kind of went through that, let me go through the guys that are in the tournament let me go through the Great 8 that made it this far. Now you're gonna have to excuse me because if I miss somebody, I will be talking about them because I'm hoping that they're gonna do like the brackets thing like they did in the first episode of the second round, and when they do that, I'll announce who everybody's facing and all that. So let me talk about who made it this far. So we have T.J. Perkins, Rich Swann, Zack Sabre Jr., Noam Dar, V. Brian Kendrick, Grand Metalik, Akira Tozawa, and Kota Ibushi. I think that's all 8 guys. I know that's 8 guys, but I don't know if that's all 8 guys. If I miss somebody, if I misplaced somebody and put them in the wrong spot. Well, those are all the 8 guys. So now let me get to the review and talk about it. But if the brackets thing comes up, I will talk about that. Okay, so now we have the stand-ins of the CWC quarterfinals tournament. It's going to be really exciting because, like I said, the round 1 and round 2 were really good. So, well, round 1 was good, but round 2 was really good. Let's see how the quarterfinals are. I'm just going to talk about the stand-ins, like I said, say who's in them and everything. So we have Akira Tozawa, who defeated Kenneth Johnson and Kenneth Johnson in the first round and Jack Gallagher in the second round. And he's going to be facing Grand Metalik, who defeated Alejandro Cias in the first round and Tajiri in the second round. And I'm going to repeat these at the end, but that's the first matchup is Akira Tozawa versus Grand Metalik. And then we have Zack Sabre Jr., who defeated Tyson Duke in the first round and Drew Gulak in the second round. And he's going to be facing Noam Dar, who defeated G. Shira in the first round and Ho Ho Loon in the second round. So it's going to be Zack Sabre Jr. versus Noam Dar. Then we have the Brian Kendrick, who defeated Wall Mendoza in the first round and Tony Nese in the second round. And he's going to be facing Kota Ibushi, who defeated Sean Maludo in the first round, and Cedric Alexander in the second round. So Lee Brian Kendrick versus Kota Ibushi, and the final matchup in the tournament is going to be T.J. Perkins, who defeated Domac in the first round, and Johnny Gargano in the second round, and he's going to be facing Rich Swann, who defeated Jason Lee in the first round, and Lince Dorado in the second round. So those are the matchups. Let me repeat them. It's Akira Tozawa versus Grand Metalik, Zack Sabre Jr. versus Noam Dar, Lee Brian Kendrick versus Kota Ibushi, which is going to be a fantastic matchup, and T.J. Perkins versus Rich Swann. The one match I want to see the most is probably Lee Brian Kendrick versus Kota Ibushi, because I think that's going to be a fantastic match, but we're going to have to wait and see. So let me start the review for this episode now. Okay, so we have WWE Cruiserweight Classics Season 1, Episode 8. And we had Daniel Bryan and Mauro Ranallo on commentary. They've been doing great on commentary for these episodes. Like, I wish they would, like I said, I've been talking about this in every episode I've been doing for this series. I really hope that in the future Daniel Bryan can be a WWE commentator, because he's just really good at it. And him and Mauro Ranallo are just magic together on commentary. I'm probably going to say it in the next episode too, but because they're great. So we had a video package for Grand Metalik, and this is different than the ones we've been seeing. This is all of them were different. Like, they've been playing the same ones kind of over and over again, but this one was different because now they're further ahead into the tournament, so I'm glad that they played it. And Grand Metalik talks about how it has been an honor for him to make it this far into the CWC tournament, and he says that he feels like he's living his dream, making it to the WWE, and if he wins the Cruiserweight Classics, he feels like he could really make his dream in the by being a WWE superstar. And he talks about how, you know, the Mexican people have always looked up to him, and he says that he's gonna win this tournament for himself and for Mexico and for the fans. And then Akira Tozawa has a video package and says about the same thing pretty much. Yeah, he says about the same thing. And then we had Akira Tozawa versus Grand Metalik in a CWC quarterfinals tournament match. This was a really good match. And the way I've been forgetting to mention this, the way they structured these matches the way they did before was the matches had a 20-minute time limit. So if no one won the match in 20 minutes and it just went to a no contest, or if someone got nobody would advance in the tournament, and the person that they would face in the next round would just automatically advance to the, like, so for example, in this case, whoever didn't win this, the opponent that they would face in the semifinals would move directly to the finals. That's kind of an example. But this case, since we're further along the tournament, this match was 30 minutes. So I wonder now if the next match, like the semifinals, is going to be maybe the same time, and like the finals is going to be unlimited or something like that. I don't know. But this was a really good match. At first, they both just start chain wrestling each other, and then Grand Metalik hits a wicked drop kick right into the corner on Akira Tozawa, and he hits a two-page suicida on the outside, and he hits a Enzuigiri while he's on the apron onto Tozawa. He hits a springboard while he's on the middle rope drop kick, and he gets Akira Tozawa into a figure four, but Tozawa is able to get to the ropes, and Tozawa is able to make a comeback. He hits when Grand Metalik goes for the springboard elbow, but Akira Tozawa counters into a drop kick, which knocks Metalik on the outside, and Tozawa hits two suicidas on the outside, which was really cool. And then they start chopping each other, and Akira Tozawa just really pisses him off, so he goes to he psychs him out and acts like he's gonna chop him, but instead he just hits a wicked right hand right under Grand Metalik. And Grand Metalik ends up hitting a crossbody, but Tozawa kicks out of it, and at one point Tozawa gets hung up on the top. No, Akira Tozawa hits a quick German suplex. And he ends up Grand Metalik kicks out of it. Another point, Akira Tozawa tries to hit like a German suplex off the top, but Grand Metalik pushes him off, and he ends up getting hung up on the ropes. And Grand Metalik ends up hitting a Hurricanrana off the top rope, and he just barely didn't get the 3 count. Like, Akira Tozawa barely kicked out of it. I thought that was really awesome. And then Akira Tozawa hits a German suplex, but at first Grand Metalik lands on his feet, and then he hits a quick one, and then he really hits the German suplex, and he bridges into the cover, but Grand Metalik kicks out of it, which I actually was surprised about. And then Akira Tozawa goes for the straightjacket German suplex, but Grand Metalik counters into the Metalik driver for the win. And one other spot I forgot to mention was when Grand Metalik hit the Boljai, I think it's called the Boljai Metalik, which is a flip Torpedo, which looked really sick. But Grand Metalik goes over, and it was a really good match. Really could have gone either way. And then next, it has a video package for the Brian Kendrick, and he talks about how he's happy about how far he's come into this tournament, and he feels like that this is his Cinderella story because he lost it all 9 years. He lost his WWE career 9 years ago, and he's 37 years old, and everybody else are young guns in this tournament. They can have their chance at glory, but this could be my final chance. The other guys want to win this tournament, but I need to win this tournament. And then he says that he lost. No one else knows what it's like to have their dream taken away from them. And then Kota Ibushi said that he's really enjoyed wrestling for the WWE, and he said that wrestling isn't just a job for him; it's a way of life. And he said that he wants to win the CWC to prove that he is the best wrestler in the world. So then we had the main event. It was the Brian Kendrick versus Kota Ibushi in another CWC quarterfinals tournament match. And this was a really good main event. Kota Ibushi dominates the match. He kicks Kendrick right in the chest, and then he hits a triangle moonsault on Kendrick. And then he gets him in the ring, and Kendrick goes out on the outside, and Ibushi goes to go after him. And he sends him ribs first into the guardrail. And Kendrick actually traps Ibushi's foot right into the guardrail, and he tries to get him, count him out, which doesn't work, but I thought that was really innovative. Never seen something like that before. And then Ibushi hits a crossbody coming into the ring. He just beats the crap out of Kendrick with a bunch of kicks, and eventually Kendrick ends up both of them are on the apron. Kendrick ends up hitting a neck breaker, and Ibushi, he ends up hitting the neck breaker right onto the top turnbuckle of Ibushi, like the hard part that connects the turnbuckles. I thought that looked sick. That just looked really painful. So Kendrick really works over the neck of Ibushi for a while, and Ibushi starts to make his comeback. And eventually Kendrick hits a sliced bread number 2, but Ibushi is able to kick out of it. Ibushi hits a German suplex on Kendrick, because Kendrick tried to put him in the sleeper hold on the top rope, and Ibushi fought out of it, and Kota Ibushi ended up hitting a Pele kick. And then he hit a German, and Kendrick landed on the apron, and Ibushi hits a German suplex while Kendrick was on the apron from the middle rope, coming into the ring, which looked really sick. And Kendrick still kicked out of that, and they both just start trading right hands on each other, and eventually Kendrick gets him the first time into the bully choke, but Ibushi's able to fight out of it, and then Kendrick ends up hitting a red fire truck or something, I think it's called. It's like a torch wrap backway when he just slammed him, and he drops Ibushi right on his head, which looked sick. It looked really painful, and Ibushi still kicked out of it. And this whole story too is Ibushi just had neck surgery, the same type as Daniel Bryan. So, And then Ibushi ends up hitting a moonsault come out of the corner, kick out, and then eventually Ibushi goes for the Phoenix Splash. Kendrick moves out of the way, gets him in the bully choke, but Ibushi's able to fight out of it, kicks Kendrick in the head, and hits the Golden Star Powerbomb for the win. And Kota Ibushi advances in the tournament. And afterwards, Lee Brian Kendrick and him shake hands. And you could just hear, because Daniel Bryan had been really rooting for Lee Brian Kendrick to win this tournament because of his heart and desire and everything. So you could just feel the like heartbroken that Kendrick didn't achieve his dream. Kendrick didn't win this tournament that he needed to win, and he sold it really well too. And eventually, everybody starts embracing him, and Daniel Bryan comes in the win, and they all embrace each other and they stand together. So I thought that was really good, and this was a really good episode of the CWC. I thought these two matches that were on the show were really good, and I just can't wait to finish and get to the finals, because I think it's gonna be a great final. So yeah, that's it. So I'm gonna go review the next episode now. Okay, so now we have season 1, episode 9. We had the same people on commentary, and this was the final match. This was the final 2 matches in the quarterfinals. The next episode would be the finals of, the semifinals and the finals of the CWC, which I'm looking forward to watching. That will be in the next episode too. So this will be the final episode. Well, the final part of this episode. So we had a video package for Zack Sabre Jr. and he talks about how that he that he is nervous being in front of a big crowd, but he said that he only keeps his focus between him and the win, or else he loses the tournament. He says that he wants to do this for the people because the people in England are looking up to him, and he said that he wants to prove why he's the best cruiserweight of all time. And then Noam Dar has a video package, and he talks about how he had to upgrade his movesets because he's been facing a lot of people with different styles, and says that he wants to win the tournament as well. So then we had a CWC quarterfinals tournament match. It was Noam Dar versus Zack Sabre Jr., and this was a really good technical wrestling match. And the storyline in this match is good because these two people, from what I'm hearing anyways on commentary, have been friends for years. Zack Sabre Jr. actually helped train Noam Dar, and they've been friends, and they had the fact that, and they've wrestled together all over the world. So this is what made the match even more interesting. And at first they start doing quick chain grapples, and eventually Noam Dar completely takes out Zack Sabre Jr.'s knee, and he starts working on the knee of Zack Sabre Jr. But Zack Sabre Jr. starts making a comeback, and he reverses, and they both start exchanging roll-ups on each other. Zack Sabre Jr. tries to go for an armbar, Noam Dar reverses it, and they both do a lot of chain wrestling at first. Zack Sabre Jr. tries to go up on the top rope, but Noam Dar completely takes out his knee and starts really working on the knee of Zack Sabre Jr. And then Zack Sabre Jr. reverses one of his moves, and Zack Sabre Jr. gets a guillotine choke while he's going off the top ropes right onto Noam Dar. There was even one spot where Zack Sabre Jr. really bends Noam Dar's arm back and just stomps on it. I thought that was really painful, actually. Noam Dar hits a bicycle kick off Zack Sabre Jr. and he's on the apron. He lands right outside the ring, and then he hits a torpe suicida outside the ring. After this, they both start exchanging submission moves on each other. I thought that looked really cool, actually. They both just, and then eventually, Noam Dar gets him into the knee bar, but he gets to the, Zack Sabre Jr. is able to get to the ropes. Noam Dar hits a Northern Lights suplex onto Zack Sabre Jr., but he kicks out of it. He gets an enziguri right to the head, and there was one spot where Noam Dar, to really target the injured knee, jumps off the top rope and he hits his knee while he's hung up against the turnbuckle, against the rope. It looked really painful. And Noam Dar then gets him goes for the knee bar, but they both fall outside the ring. But it looked like Zack Sabre Jr. kind of rolled outside the ring, so that way he couldn't lose. And Zack Sabre Jr. almost got counted out, but he was able to get back into the ring. And they both started exchanging kicks to the head and right hands on each other. And Noam Dar and Zack Sabre Jr. had his arm hurt, so Noam Dar started targeting the injured arm. And then eventually Zack Sabre Jr. was trying to go for his patented submission move that he's been using to win the tournament, to win his matches in the tournament. But his arm's too hurt, which I like that he showed the injured elbow. So he ended up having to like cross his legs onto Zack Sabre Jr.'s arm and beat him that way. So I thought that was really cool. So Zack Sabre Jr. won and advanced in the tournament. Afterwards, they shake hands and embrace each other. And he moves on to advance, and he's going to be in the semifinals. I thought that looked really cool. And this was a really good technical wrestling match. When you think like the technical wrestling matches can't get any better and better, they just do it. So it was awesome. It was also like a little bit of a high flying type matchup as well. And then it has a video package for T.J. Perkins, and he talks about, you know, how he's been the best in the tournament, and he says that if you believe that somebody else is better than you, then you don't belong in the wrestling business. And he says that he's going to win this tournament because because he wants to win this tournament. And then Rich Swann has a video package, and he says that he's happy that he's made it this far in the tournament. And he said that he's going to give everybody something they've never seen before, and he's going to make the fans happy by winning the tournament. So then we had the main event of this show. It was a CWC quarterfinals tournament match. T.J. Perkins versus Rich Swann. This was a really good main event. They both just started doing chain grapples on each other, and eventually Rich Swann has him in a head scissors, and T.J. Perkins is hanging upside down, and he starts kind of dancing, and then he's able to get out of it, and he dabs right in Rich Swann's face, and Rich Swann isn't too thrilled about that, so then he starts outbesting T.J. Perkins, and he actually dabs and dances his face. So then eventually Rich Swann hits a drop kick that knocks T.J. Perkins out of the ring. He goes to kick him while he's on the apron, but T.J. Perkins ducks while he's on the outside of the ring, and he hits a kick to the head, and he goes for a moonsault, but T.J. Perkins moves out of the way, and Rich Swann lands on his feet, but he ends up taking out his leg, and then Perkins hits a springboard drop kick while he's on the outside, which was really cool. But T.J. Perkins ends up hitting his back really awkwardly on the apron, which was pretty bad. And then eventually T.J. Perkins just kind of takes over the match, but Rich Swann's able to reverse a back suplex, and he's able to land on his feet, and he ends up selling the knee injury. And I kind of like the way Daniel Bryan put it on commentary. Like, the reason he probably wasn't targeting the knee at first is because he probably didn't see him since he was moving out of the way of the moonsault. I kind of like the way that Daniel Bryan was explaining it. I thought that was really well done. And so then after he sees him like land on his feet awkwardly, T.J. Perkins starts targeting the injured leg of Rich Swann, and eventually Rich Swann starts to make a comeback. He gets a DDT on Perkins, but he ends up kicking out of it. And then T.J. Perkins hits a enziguri in the corner and a double knees to the chest, right onto Swann, and he kicks out of it. And then he gets Perkins into the knee bar, but he gets Rich Swann into the knee bar, but he's able to get to the ropes in time. And then eventually they're both up on the top rope, and Rich Swann hits a Hurricanrana right onto Rich Swann. T.J. Perkins hit the Hurricanrana onto Rich Swann from the top rope, and he goes to he tries to cover him, but Swann kicks out, and he goes to go off the top and hit a move on Rich Swann, but Rich Swann's able to get there in time and hit the Frankensteiner, which was sick. And he hits two enziguris, and he hits like a suplex, and he drops Perkins right on his head. I thought that looked really sick. It was like a suplex, and it was Michinoku driver, and T.J. Perkins kicks out of that. And then Rich Swann hits a Tiger Powerbomb on T.J. Perkins, but he kicks out of that. And they both hit enziguris on each other, and eventually Rich Swann also hits a 450 coming out of the corner, and then a backflip into a moonsault on T.J. Perkins, but he kicks out of that. And eventually T.J. Perkins hits a gets him in the fireman's carry into the Pele and gets him into the knee ball, and Rich Swann has no choice but to tap out. And after the and he advances in the tournament, which was a really good match. I really enjoyed it. And what I liked about it too is because they, in a say the styles match, but also the backstories match, because both of these men have been pretty much have the same story. You know, they both have been homeless before they became wrestlers. So I liked that. And then afterwards, and immediately afterwards, I like this too because they've been friends for years too. T.J. Perkins embraces and checks on Rich Swann right after he taps out, and I thought that made T.J. Perkins look like a really good baby face, and I just loved it. Overall, this was a really good main event. I don't think this has been the best match in the tournament, but it was really good. And you know, now on the next episode is going to be the finals of the tournament, and the final four is going to be T.J. Perkins, Kota Ibushi, Grand Metalik, and Zack Sabre Jr. And I think that's going to be some great stuff coming out of there. And I will talk about it in the next video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video, and make sure to subscribe to all the other channels in the description box, and make sure to subscribe to my to this YouTube channel itself. And I will be back in the next video to talk about the season finale of the Cruiserweight Classics.